Hey everyone, this is Daniel, and today we're going to try to answer this question, which is why fill a form when you can chat with the bot? So, do you have those scenarios where the form is actually really simple, and instead of you building a customized form or a very simple app, I ask you to sit back and think about it. Maybe, just maybe, we can actually have a chatbot discussion where using natural language, the bot is actually asking the right set of questions. And all of those answers actually be saved in the backend using a variable. And towards the end of the conversation, all of those answers are saved to a data source, whatever data source that you want. So that is what we're going to achieve in this video. Sit back, it's actually a really interesting video, and you can have so many scenarios to do this in your real world. But first, here's my intro video. So let's get started. And here's the scenario that I'm talking about, where in your company, you've got to build an internal job application form. And it's a very simple form because there's a very simple set of questions that need to be answered before the actual application can begin. And that's when I sat back and thought, okay, do I really want to build this as a customized form or an app? Or should I actually do this as a conversation with a chatbot? And so that's what I'm going to talk about. And here is that example of the form. We're going to skip this form. We're going to go ahead and start building our own chatbot conversation. So let's go do that. So here I am in my Power Virtual Agents. And in my Power Virtual Agents, I've actually gone ahead and have my own specific environment. I call this as my friendly neighborhood bot. And in the friendly neighborhood bot, I've actually gone ahead and got a bot created. And it's called as job application form. That's the one that we're going to build over here. When I come to my topics, this is the one. I'm actually first going to go ahead and turn off all of these simple lessons because these lessons are great to learn from. But the moment you start building a production one, you actually want to go ahead and turn these off because let's think about it. It might actually have triggers in it that somehow go ahead and get added into your conversation, and it can basically cause some confusion. So lessons are great to learn from. In production, you want to go ahead and toggle them off. So they're all turned off. Let's go ahead and actually start a new topic. So in my new topic, I'm going to call this as a job application bot. All right, so I'm going to take care of that. First thing you know is you need to go ahead and add some trigger phrases. So for that, I'm going to come in over here. I'm going to actually can start doing it right over here. And it's giving you this nice advice. It's like, hey, use short sentences, 5 to 15 words, focus on the issue and use different words to describe it. I really like this example. So I'm actually going to go ahead and start adding these short phrases over here. I've already pre-typed them for you, so it makes it easier. But I'm doing a paste and then I'm hitting enter. So the first question over there is, what is the job market like? Legitimate question. That's something that you can ask internally as well. Or somebody can say, making a switch in my career. That's another great point over here. So you can see I'm actually going ahead and adding a few of them. I'm doing a lot of copying and pasting. That way it makes it easier. And that's what I do. I just do a lot of Control-C, come over here, do a Control-V, and then I hit enter. Enter goes ahead and actually adds it into as one of the phrases. And then I'm going to put in the second last one, come in here, put the last one. And I've got at least enough for the conversation to get started. So these are my phrases over here, my trigger phrases where users can come in and have this discussion, all right? So that's pretty good. I'm just going to go ahead and click on save. I'll click on the save. It tells me there is an error. Oh, that's because there's a message over there. So let's actually go and add something to the message, all right? So I'm going to actually start by saying, got it. It would be my pleasure to assist you. Well, Daniel, this is not making any sense. Why are you starting it with that way? It's a good question. Let me go and show you why. So I'm going to first come and click and save over here. Because when we go back to our topics, in our topics, we already have this greetings one. So in the greetings, when I go and come to the greetings, it's already got these trigger phrases. And over here, it's already got this one message. So remember that the other topic that we've created about the chatbot, that could be actually a secondary one where somebody came in the bot and starts saying that, hey, good afternoon, good morning. That will go ahead and start or trigger this topic. This is the topic which will actually have all the discussions. And then from here is where it will go ahead and kick off our next topic, the one that we're creating. So always keep that in mind, is that a user could come in. Remember, this could be the very first time that the user is having that conversation with the chatbot ever, or at least in that day or the week or something. So the user could actually start with, hey, good morning, good afternoon, hi, how's it going, stuff like that. And that is when this topic gets triggered, the out-of-the-box available trigger. So always go, if you want to do any tweaking, this is where you want to go and do it. So I always come actually usually over here and says, I'm your friendly neighborhood bot. That's what I usually put. I'm your friendly neighborhood bot. That's usually what I come over here. And this is, I can help with an account questions, orders information, whatever you want over here. And just basically go ahead and start with this one over here. So that's something that you want to keep track of. Remember, this is the first one, and then I'll go ahead and save it, because now I know that when the next questions will be coming in, they will actually go to my bot. So let's go back to the bot that we are making, all right? Go back to the topics, and then over here, this is going to be the job application bot. So I'll go and click on the job application bot, and here is we're going to start continuing. So before we go and even start having a full natural language conversation, the first thing I need to know is, can I have your full name? And so that's what the bot is going to do. It's going to basically ask a question. So I'm going to come over here to the plus over here, which is to add a node. I'm going to go ahead and add another node. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to ask a question. In the question, I'm going to ask this question: can I have your full name? Now, when the name is provided, I will also want to save that to a variable. But how do I identify this one? In this case, it's going to be the user's entire response. The user will actually go and type something in, and we'll go and grab that. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to rename this. So this var, I'm going to go and call that as var full name. This is just how I go ahead and give my variable naming conventions over here. So that's basically what I'm going to do. Now, also over here, you need to decide where all is this going to be used. Is it receive value from other topics, or is it going to be only for this original topic? You could go ahead and put this only for the original one, or you could go and put it both. Doesn't really matter, at least one of them that you need, but I'm going to go and put this for both, because let's face it, I'm going to expand on my topics. There could be a point where this conversation actually deviates to another topic, another conversation. Therefore, all the data that I've saved in these variables need to be saved at a higher level for other topics as well. So that's basically been some of my recent style of going and doing that. All right, so let's just say that the user went ahead and actually gave us the full name. So now I'll go ahead and add another node, and I'll say something like this. I'm going to actually first put only a message, right? So in the message, I'm going to say hi, and in hi, we're going to go and get the user's name right over here. Get that full var name. And after that, I'm going to say nice to meet you virtually. So that at least has started conversation. That's what it is. It's all about having an informal conversation. All right, so next, let's go and now ask another question, because we're going to be doing asking a lot of questions. Remember, the whole concept is to stop using that form, but the bot needs to be smart enough to ask the right questions, because those will be saved as the form. So this is all we are doing. We're making the bot a little smarter to go ahead and ask the right questions. So the first things first, here's the question we're asking, is that first, I need some information about where you live. Let's start with the state that you live in. So here, I'm going to actually go and say state. Now, there's already this preformed identity thing for state. So I'm just going to go and say state and leave that as is. What I will do though is the actual variable, I'll go ahead and change that to the var, which is there out of the box. I'll go and change that to state. I'll go and turn on all the usage for this level. Cool. Next, let's go and ask another question. A lot of questions we'll be asking in. So we've got the state. Next thing we need to do is we need to go and get the city. So I'll go and put this over here and I'll search. I think we've got one for the city. I already see it. So I'm going to go and select that one. Then in the var, I'll actually go and say this is the var city. I'll go and make sure I turn on both of these on. This is also a good point for me to go and do some saving. That way I don't lose any other work. All right, so it said the topic is saved. Awesome. All right, so we're doing good with the questions. Now we need to actually go and continue asking some more questions. But remember, make this as a conversation. So I'm going to actually start by saying thanks. And thanks means who? So who's the person? Well, we already got the name. So I'm going to go and grab that name, full name. All right. And then I'm going to say, so how long have you lived in? And we're going to go and put the city name, comma, state. I'm going to go come over here. It's going to be the city name right there, comma, and then I'm going to go and grab the state. So we got both of those, right? Now here is where we're going to do some multiple choice variable step. Some multiple choices. That's going to be the variable. Just to be safe, I'll actually click on that var, and in the var, I'm going to go ahead and actually put in the name, which is number of years lived in location. Just went and actually grabbed that entire variable thing over here. But here's where I'm actually going to start putting some information, because this is going to be a choice type column. So I'm going to say things like less than 6 months. All right, hit enter on that one. Next one is going to be the one other question, which is going to be 6 to 12 months. Not other question, but the other options. All right, so I've got the 6 to 12 months. I'll also go and put in 1 to 2 years right there. And then I'll go and expand that to more than 5 years, more than 5 years. So as I've done this, it's automatically going and adding some conditions, which is great. I love this is one of the features I love about the Power Virtual Agents, that it's smart enough to automatically go and do all of this for us, and just to make sure that we've also got our response. But this is one of the things I really like. In fact, I always joke that I wish Power Automate would do something like this, that it's smart enough to know that. But let's face it, Power Virtual Agents is just a whole different ball of game altogether. Anyway, so we've got all these conditions, but what I'm going to need to do is now keep asking some more questions. So I need to tie all of this in to the next set of questions. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just randomly going to pick any one of these. I'll just go and say pick this one. And over here, I'm going to go and ask another question. So the question which I'm going to ask is, let me know which type of job category interests you. And this is also going to be a multiple choice type of a question. What we're going to do for this one is actually go ahead and now give its variable a name as well. So this is going to be var job category. And in the category, we're going to give it some categories. So the categories that I'm actually going and saying is things like assembler, somebody who's actually interested in going and doing some assembly work. After that, there could also be construction worker. All right, do that as well. And as you can see, as I'm writing over here, conditions are building up, but it's just fine. That's by design. Other one could be document scanning tech, because these are the type of questions, the options that are available. Job categories are both internal as well as external. Somebody who's on the field, somebody who's on internal, all of these things. So here's another one, janitor, again, internal type of a, company type of a scenario. Also, machine operator, that could be another option over there. And then finally, truck driver, that's a definite option as well. So here we've gone ahead and now grabbed some of these things, and this automatically also went and created all the conditions. But we got to first fix the top one on the top. So here's what I'm going to do is I am actually going to go ahead and now clean up. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the plus, and then on the plus, I'm going to go ahead and grab this node. First click on the plus, grab the node, pull it, and then connect the two. So that way you've got this connection. Next, I'm going to go ahead and now click on the plus, click on that node right there. Okay, let me do that again. Click on the plus, click on the node, drag it, and we've got that connected. And then finally, going to do the same thing over here. Click on that one, then grab that node and connect it. So this is basically how we've gone ahead and done all of these. Basically, I just wanted to go ahead and ask a question, and I gave it multiple choices. It automatically went and created these conditions, which is fine because we are still going to go and continue that conversation right below here. So this is basically how it's working. Next is we've got to do the exact same thing for the bottom one as well. So let's actually randomly pick one of these. And over here, there is actually just a message we're going to ask. The message that we're asking over here is just basically an update. It's not more of an S message. I'm just saying that, okay, I have a few more questions remaining. All right, so we've gone ahead and done that. Now here, we've got to go ahead and make the connection as well. Click on that, grab the node, pull it, and then connect it. Just do it that way. Then come back over here, grab the node, and then you connect it. So I'm just randomly doing it one on one side and the other one on the other side. You can go and finish all on the right side, then come to the left side. It's completely up to you. The reason I like to do it this way is then it kind of, at every point, it is centering it a little bit. So that's just been my style of actually building these chatbots. So watch, if I do it over here, it moves a little bit to the left. And then I got to go grab this one from here, and it moves, again, centers it. So that's just a style that I naturally developed. I like the way it works over here. That's the one that I'm going to stick with. So after the message, we got a few more questions to ask. So here's the next one. I'm going to go and ask a question, all right? In the question, I'm just going to go and paste it, and this is what it is. Can you confirm your age is 18 years and above? First, let's go and grab this one, and I'll go and call this as my var over 18 years old variable, all right? And I'm going to make this as a multiple choice, and I'm going to say yes, and then I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to click on this new option. I'm going to click on no. And we already went and got that one done. So it went and asked the question. We gave two options because there's a multiple choice one. It went and actually gave us two. And there it is below over there. Again, we're going to go ahead now do a little bit of tweaking over here. Because here's what it is. The question is, can you confirm your age is 18 years or older? If it is no, then we need to say something about that. But if it is yes, then it should go and continue that. So if the user is not 18 years or older, I'm at least going to go and put this message over here. The message basically comes over here, and just have to paste it, that majority of the positions we have available require a minimum age of 18. However, we do have a paid internship program that you might be interested in. Always good to go and add that positive note, even though the person said no for that question, which is They may be less than 18 years old, but we got to give a positive response to it. So that's why we went ahead and add a message on that. Now, below this, we have to go ahead and actually ask another question. And so what we got to do is go ahead and ask the question, but here, this is what I need to do is this answer, which is yes, had nothing, no other response. So we just got to go and grab this one and then directly connect it to the bottom one. That's basically how that works. And then over here, this question is going to be, do you have a driver's license? And again, this one is going to be a yes and a no. And then we will go ahead and assign that answer to a variable. That answer to the variable comes right over here is var driver's license. We'll just leave that as is. This is actually going to be again, we have got to replicate what we did over here, right? Remember, because this was the one where it could be that the person is less than 18 years old. Scenario is similar. Over here, no, the person does not have a driver's license. So again, we've got to go ahead and put a positive spin to this. So I'm going to click on the plus. I'm going to put a show a message. In the message, I'm going to paste this. This is not a problem. There are several positions available that do not require a driver's license. And so we completely are fine with that. Next, I'm going to actually go ahead and add another message. And the message is going to be last question. Just giving a little bit of a excitement to that. Also, what I got to do is now this one over here, this node, I got to click on that. And then I got to go and grab that one. And I got to go and connect it to the bottom one over here, the one below, the second message. All right, so we're going to keep going over here. And now here is where I go ahead and ask, I think it's my last question. And the last question, which is saying is, would you be willing to undergo a background check? And this is, again, going to be a variable. In this variable, I'm going to click on that right there. And the variable is going to be for var background check. Here, I'm going to go and say yes, do that. And I'm going to go and say no. Those are only the two options that I have. And then we're actually going to go ahead and add another message. This message basically just says that, hey, we are pretty much done asking all the questions. So thank you for that. It says, thank you so much for answering all the questions. We have submitted this information for our agent to review. Someone will contact you in a week's time for the next steps. So all the questions that we needed to ask, that's actually been done. So in this case, this condition, it doesn't have its own subsection. So all I just got to do is grab this guy's node. Got to do is grab this node and I connect it over here and it works. But now is where we've got to go ahead and use Power Automate to take all of this information. Because remember, all these answers we got are right now only saved in a variable. So data is getting collected. We need to send that data over to the data source. And in my case, my data source is actually Dataverse. So here I am. I'm in the exact same environment as the one that I have my chatbot system created, the exact same environment. And in my environment, I have something called as job application form. That's a table. So when I click on the table, you can actually see that I've already got all the columns and everything created. Because remember, this app that I was going to build, it actually came from that exact same Dataverse. See the icon? It's Dataverse job application forms. This is what it is, job application form. It was the exact same table that I already had created, but I decided to use the chatbot instead of a very simple form. So that's basically what it is. That's the data source that we're going to go and leverage. So now let's go and create that Power Automate flow, because as we stand right now, Power Virtual Agents does not have the flexibility to just directly save this to Dataverse. At least right now, we cannot do that, but it has a really good intermediate way of doing it, and that is using Power Automate. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here, and now I'm going to call an action right there, calling an action. It's loading, and I'm going to go and create a flow. Moment I go and create a flow, it automatically goes into Power Automate, starts a flow, and it already has gone ahead and put in my initial trigger and even this output, as if it's giving me the initial shell to go ahead and start building my app in, my flow in. But now we need certain inputs that are coming in. These are the inputs that we're going to get from our chatbot discussion. So what I started off doing was that I'm just going to maintain some consistency. All the variables that I have, those are the same variables I'm going to use for the add and input. So let me start giving you some examples. They're mostly text. So my first one input over here. Remember the first thing we asked is what was your name? And that was var full name. So that's what I'm going doing. I'm going and putting in this as a var full name. Next thing was we added what was the state, what was the city. So that's it, var state. Go and put that. Next, come back over here. Var, I'm going to go and put in the city. So we grabbed all of that. Next, I actually went and asked what was the number of years you were in that location. So that's what it is. I'm going to come in over here, add a next input. I'm just going to paste it because that's the same variable name that I had over there in the Power Virtual Agents chatbot. So I'm just doing a lot of pasting. The other things that we add was, what was the job category that you were interested in? Again, in the next, we also asked a few things. The next one was, are you 18 years or older? We definitely asked that one. And then finally, we asked two other questions is, do you have a driver's license? So that's what it is, bar driver's license. And then the last one is, are you okay for a background check? So there you go. I literally had all the variables and the variable names that we gave in Power Virtual Agents. I just took the exact same one and I went ahead and add that in as the input items. This just makes it very easy to actually understand from that flow standpoint, all right? Next, it's pretty simple because there's only one other action that we've got to add over here. And that's it. I come over here, I go to add an action, and then here is in the Dataverse. In my Dataverse, which is already right there, so I'll just click on that. We are actually going to add a new row. So let me click on adding a new row. It is going ahead and signing into the Dataverse because it doesn't already have a connection created. That's fine. Went ahead and did that. And over here, we've got the job, and I'm just going to search for job application forms. That's the actual name of the table that we created. I had typed in job, and that's why it just assumed that was job, but the actual name was job application forms. So you can completely ignore that one over here. Now in the name or the table, which is right over here, this name is the same one for the full name. All right, so just kind of keep that in mind. So we're going to come back over here to our table, and here is the full name. This is coming from the variable that we added over here, and that data is going to come directly from the chatbot. I'll show you that in a minute. So let's just go and populate these things. Like, are you 18 years and above? That was the number of here, bar over 18 years old. Are you willing to undergo a background check? Which is right over here. We actually had a question on that thing. Bar background check. The city right there. City is the bar city. Then do you have a driver's license? Again, we had a question like that. Bar driver's license. How long have you lived over here? Again, there was a question. Number of years lived in location. None of these existed. Job category, yes. What was the job category that the user was interested in? We had a variable for that as well. And the state. What was the state that we had in? We had a bar state. And honestly, that is it. All the data that we got from there has gone ahead and saved that in. Now this section on the remaining, which is anything we have to return, we don't really have to return anything. So I can go and leave that as is. What you could do is actually do a return, which is saying, 200 for successful, or you can just say successful or fail. If you wanted to really send that over to Power Virtual Agents, you can do that. But this is the type of scenarios where your data is being sent by the chatbot to do some crunching over here. And then you're sending the data back to the chatbot. That is the scenario when you actually go and put in a plus add an output, because this output will be gained by Power Virtual Agents, right? In our scenario, we don't need that. But here's what it is. I'm going to go and click on save. The data should already be saved. The flow has already been saved. It says you're ready. We can go and start testing it if you want. So I'll actually just go one step back because I'm maybe do some testing. This is where I can go and see all the testing that's happening. All right, now in the chatbot, we still have some work to do. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do call an action, but in calling an action, it is loading. In the loading, let's go and get that action that we created, which is Power Virtual Agents flow template. By the way, I should have named something over here because it went and did Power Virtual Agents flow template. What I should have done is actually clicked on that and then said that, hey, change the name to something else, right? So just make sure that you do that. Probably call this as Power Virtual Agents, save the data, or save job application form data. Give it that some name, all right? I just left it to the default. That is why the default is what I'm seeing over here. All right, so now I'm gonna click on it because we still got some work to do. And this is why it's so important, because remember, these are the names that we gave when we were building the Power Automate flow. Remember right over here on the Power Automate flow, when we came in the beginning, we needed to give some input. So you see all of these for the inputs, those are the ones which are coming and saying, hey, you need to actually send some of this data. And it's so easy now because we know that the name we gave in Power Virtual Agents was var full name. Well, we have a var full name over here in the chatbot as well. So you see if I kept it the same way, makes it very easy to complete this step over here. So let's just go and do a lot of selecting because it's literally that simple. Var state, click on the drop down. Let's go grab the var state that I have, which is way at the bottom. Then we have the var city for the variable city. Go and get the variable city. You see, now it's just basically you going and figuring out which one it is because you already have the names. It's so much more easier. I, in fact, kept it the exact same one. Job category, that was right over here. job category. Then 18 years and older, which was right over here, 18 years and older, almost done. VAR driver's license, and then the one for the background check, there's right over here, background check. And honestly, this one is done. We've already gone and saved all that information. So we can actually just now come into the end and add right over here in the call to action, right over here, we can just end the conversation. We can end with the survey. It automatically goes ahead and actually adds this one text section here. So, hey, you want to end the action, end with the survey, and it'll actually ask you a survey as well. But guess what? We are done. So I'm going to go and click on save, and then we'll do a test. So it's saved. Now let's go and click over here, test your bot. When I click on test a bot, it comes up. But what I want to do is also I want to toggle the switch on because I want to track between topics. Because remember, I said that if a user is coming in for the first time that week or first time ever, they might actually come and say something like, hi there, something like that. And the moment you did that, it goes ahead and starts that other topic altogether, right? So that's not the one we created, but in the other topic, we went and changed some of this name. So that's very important, all right? Then the user, just to have a natural language discussion, could come and paste something like this right over here. It says looking for a new job. But remember, when we did looking for a new job, it will then trigger our topic. So that's why it is so important to make the topics a little seamless. In this topic, you should not add your own introduction or your own, who am I kind of a thing. No, the other topic already took care of that. So here now we're going to start with our discussion. Remember, it says, I need your, can I have your full name? I was like, sure. I'm going to call myself as Dan Christian. Went ahead and did all of that. Says, hi, Daniel Christian. Nice to meet you virtually. First, I need more information about where you live. Let's start with the state. So in the state, I'm going to call that as North Carolina. Already went and took care of that. Next, it's going to say, which city do you live in? Well, I live in Charlotte. So went and did all of this. So now it says, thanks, Daniel Christian. So it took that initial name, saved it in the variable. Now we're actually using that variable. Plus, we're saving that for the city. We're saving that for the state. We're making this as a natural language conversation. And this really helps. Remember, this is so much better than filling out that form. Because now we're having a conversation. We already got 3 things from here. Full name, we got city, we went and got the state, all of those things. And we've already asked a question too. It's like, hey, how long have you lived over here? So I've definitely lived over here longer than 5 years. So I've selected the 5 years. And then I think the information that I'm looking for over here is for a janitor. So I've selected the janitor also, saving that information. So then the next thing. So, okay, I have only a few questions remaining. Can you confirm your age is 18 years or older? I'm going to intentionally say no. Because the moment it says no, it actually goes ahead and adds this other conversation. Remember this section over here. Majority of the positions we have available require a minimum age. So it's having that conversation. It says, do you have a driver's license? I'm going to again say no. Because then that other message comes up. The message basically says, not a problem. There are several positions available that did not require a driver's license. Last question, are you willing to undergo a background check? Yep, I'm going to say that. And then after that, the flow is actually triggering off. That's the important thing. See right over here, the flow is triggering off. So if you scroll down a little bit, you can see that even all of that section right over there completed successfully. And it went directly to our end of conversation one over here. See, it went through all of this. And then I'm going to say, did that answer your question? Yes. By the way, this end of conversation was a complete topic altogether. That's why it went and directly did on that, transferred over to that document because we have this toggled on. I'm going to say, for the question that it's asking, it says, did that answer your question? I'm going to say, yes, it answered my question. And then it will go ahead and give me the last piece, which is right over here. We're all good. Can I help you with anything else? No, thanks. And it finished that. What I want to do is verify did our flow work. And that flow work, I'm going to click on that. I'm actually going to go one step outside. And when I click on it, you see the flow succeeded, which means if I come to my Power App, specifically over here, and if I go now, let me go outside to the table section, and let me go to my job application form. It is loading. The data came through. Name, state, city, all this information. Right over here, everything that we wanted to actually build in this form, we went and had a natural conversation with the end user using Chatbot, and we got all the information that we wanted saved in our data source. Did you just see what we did? We took a mundane form which the end user might have had to fill, and we transferred that into a natural language conversation with the chatbot, where the bot that we train asked the right questions, and towards the end, thanks to Power Automate and Dataverse, we just saved it to a data source. This is the power of chatbot system. This is the way you go ahead and leverage Dataverse or your data source to save all of that data. So hopefully this gave you a lot of ideas to leverage things like these for other examples that you have in your situation. And as always, keep using Power Virtual Agents with Power Automate. Hey everyone, hopefully you found this video useful. And if you did, can you help me help you? Can you subscribe to this YouTube channel? Because remember, I provide fresh content on a weekly basis and it's 100% free. So if you have subscribed, thank you so much and pass the word. But if you haven't, subscribe, click on the bell notification and let the learning begin.